Apparently, the person who sang the Canadian national anthem at the arena in Boston, where the game was played, revised the lyrics slightly as a protest to all the talk about Canada being subservient to the US and Canada becoming the 51st state. It was just one line. And hell, I don't know, because I don't know the lyrics of the Canadian national anthem, but it was one line. It was a subtle change. And it got us to thinking. We send, as I pointed out a couple of weeks ago, more than 100 text messages among the PFT writers thread. And MDS made this point. What kind of vetting is done of the folks who sing the anthem at NFL games? You've got the individual regular season games. You've got the bigger ticket games like the Super Bowl. What's done to make sure that no one's going to go rogue? Right, left, or otherwise? What's in place? Is there a contract that says whatever you're paid, you don't get any money if you change the lyrics? Is there a financial penalty that gets paid if you change the lyrics? Subtle changes. I don't know that it's ever happened in pro football. Of course, it's impossible to monitor the national anthem being sung at every stadium. But I'd like to think in this day and age, if somebody made a sufficiently significant change to the lyrics of the national anthem as a protest of something, right, left, or otherwise, we'd know about it. I think back to my high school years. We used to do the Pledge of Allegiance every day. I went to a Catholic high school, and the Catholics have always been very strong anti-abortion. It was a big deal. And it was right around the time, I think, that the Supreme Court, what was about 10 years after Roe v. Wade, and the Pledge of Allegiance every morning at the end, liberty and justice for all, 3 words added, born or unborn, every day, tattooed into your brain, change to the lyrics, change to the lines. What change could somebody add, right, left, or otherwise, to the national anthem? What's the NFL done to safeguard it? We've kind of accidentally discovered a defect in the system. I've asked the league if they have anything currently in place. If they don't, maybe they should. All it takes is one, as we saw last night, even if most people didn't notice it. It's just another thing the NFL should be thinking about. And this gets back to my concern that there really isn't, in my assessment, anyone at 345 Park Avenue who is just charged with worrying about shit. Like, what can go wrong? How do we envision proactively the various pitfalls of this business, whether it's rules that will eventually change after we're embarrassed by the fact that the rule doesn't cover that, instant replay doesn't cover that thing that it should, business issues, legal issues. I've always said the NFL is far more reactive than proactive, and we've seen it manifest itself with personal conduct, all sorts of ways. Who is the person who is strategizing and envisioning all the things that could go wrong for the business? It's too easy to just sit back and count the money, because the money's falling from the sky. It's one of the reasons why there aren't full-time officials. I'll leave you with this. I've been pushing as hard as I can for the league to have full-time officials. I think they need to create the perception they're doing everything they can to get every call right. And this idea that somebody's got 2 different jobs. Peter King was embedded with Gene Sterator's crew 10 years or so ago after Peter launched the MMQB vertical at SI.com. And he told the story of one member of the crew who's working his job and single parent, taking care of his kids. And then about 10:30 at night, he starts doing his work in advance of the game that he's working that weekend. You're stretching these folks way too thin. Make them full-time. Get their full attention. I think one of the reasons why, and I had somebody tell me this, one of the reasons why it won't happen is not just the money. Because the NFL is so dead set against embracing full-time officials, you need someone in the league office who is willing to burn his or her political capital to be the one that stands up against the breeze, that goes against the grain, that pushes against the current. And if you've already got plenty of work to do, like, you know, let's say I was trying to recruit someone in the league office to be the champion for full-time officials. The conversation would go like this. Will you be the champion for full-time officials? And the response will be, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? I already work hard. I'm underpaid because they're cheap. And now on top of everything else, I'm going to be the one to try to come up with a way to bring this topic up and push it past any initial resistance, even though they clearly don't want it. And I'm going to be an irritant. I'm going to be an agitator. I'm going to be a person that they can't wait to say, please get the hell out of here. It's just not worth it. That's true of a lot of organizations. There's a culture, there's a mindset. And if you're the one trying to push against it, you better be ready to go. You better feel so strongly about it that you're willing to give up your career working in that organization, because when you become the one that is the constant pain in the ass, like I am on the outside, then you set yourself up to eventually be no longer employed by the NFL. I think that's one of the big reasons why we haven't seen and won't see full-time officials. These are just shit I've added on to the end. Sorry, Gary. Gary's the one that's got to clip it out today. That's it. I'm done. We'll be back Monday with an all-new edition of PFT Live on Peacock, Sirius XM 85, Sky Sports NFL, podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. This was supposed to be a slow week, thanks to a lot of news stories and at least one really old one. It wasn't. See you Monday. Have a great weekend. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.